Welcome to the Disability Channel. This is TDC Canada Socially Served. I'm Sue Roscoff, and Disability Channel is out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, showcasing abilities. TDC provides digital media production, education, and employment programs by and for persons with disabilities and veterans. It's through media, training, and community partnerships that we create opportunities where we cultivate inclusion and truly make a difference for everybody. And typically joining me right now is my co-host, Michael Martin Hummel. He is a writer, speaker, and podcaster dedicated to bridging the gap between disabled and able-bodied communities. But he is not able to be here tonight. We are giving him a big shout out and lots of love. And hope to see him back here next week. But we do have an amazing guest joining us today. Lori Cleverly is the founder of Clever Adventures, a travel agency dedicated to creating personalized, stress-free travel experiences for families, couples, and groups. With a passion for helping others explore the world, Lori specializes in curating memorable vacations tailored to each client's unique needs, preferences, and lifestyle. As a mom of three neurodivergent boys and a caregiver to aging parents, Lori brings a deep level of understanding, empathy, and expertise to planning travel for families with diverse needs. She has firsthand experience navigating food allergies, sensory sensitivities, and accessibility considerations, making her an invaluable resource for travelers who want to feel confident and supported every step of the way. Through her podcast, Clever Adventures Podcast, Lori connects with business owners, experts, and travelers to share insights, stories, and practical tips while showing how thoughtful travel planning can transform a trip into a meaningful experience. So, whether it's a Caribbean getaway, a luxury escape, or a multi generational adventure, Lori is committed to helping her clients travel smarter, easier, and with confidence. Lori, I am so excited to have you with us here. How are you doing today?
I am fabulous. How are you?
I'm doing great. And like I said, I am so excited to have a chance to share all the great things that you're doing to help make travel a possibility beyond what people realize. So you want to give us a little more of your backstory and how you came to creating Clever Adventures?
Yeah, so I originally was a high school PE and health teacher for 6 years before we had our third son. God has a sense of humor when you have my husband got a job that got made $20,000 more than the two of us combined. So I was like, great, I'm getting fed up with teaching and the brick walls and red tape I was getting there, and I wanted to stay home because it was our third son, and so I ended up becoming a stay-at-home mom. I've done a few different things, but my husband suggested, because I can't just sit still, my husband suggested project management. So I did an online course and fell in love with it. And went looking for jobs or different things that I could do because my kids were getting bigger. And we ended up trying to find a part-time remote job. And just starting out, that does not exist. It barely exists even if you have the experience. So came across travel and was like, hey, I can do this. I understand that. And so I really love learning. I don't want to stop learning. Like we learn something new every day, but I still wanted to be learning. And I didn't like the mundane day in, day out things. I liked having a little bit of difference. And so that was one of the things that with travel, you can give me the same story, you can give me the exact same scenario, and it's still going to end up completely different. And when you're in the travel industry, you need to essentially we call them practice or mock bookings, right? You need to say, hey, what is it like to go through this process of booking this trip or booking flights, or what does this look like? So it's like one hotel company has their process of what it looks like to book a room or a stay or an airline. And another company has a completely different thing, right? So yes, there's similar information, but there's still some little nuances, right? And so I needed to practice and I was like, well, how am I going to practice? Like, I don't know. Well, you know what? I'm going to why don't I just practice with my family? How would my family travel? And having three boys on the spectrum, that became kind of a challenge where we just didn't really travel a lot at the beginning because we were figuring out food allergies, we were figuring out so many different things when we have one that has an EpiPen for soy and oats, and the amount of things that are in soy and oats, it's really it takes you back. Like, I would love to go to Asia, but they use a lot of soy. So we might not, that might be a little longer before we work that one out versus going other places. So, just figuring those things out. And then with autism and the neurodivergence and the sensory, I learned more about resources as a travel agent than I did as a parent. And when I am learning things, I'm like, why don't more people know about this? I didn't know about this. I didn't know that there are sensory rooms in airports, and my local airport has one. Like,
That's good
I
to
didn't
know.
know
How
that.
would you know that? How would anybody know?
Exactly. So I really, we have my oldest goes to an autism charter school and we absolutely love it. And so I've become very much more immersed in that community and I'm going to be the PTA president this next year. So we'll just see
Awesome.
how that goes, right? Add one more stick to the fire, right? You gotta
Uh-huh.
juggle those plates. But we're just it's okay. We can do this. We need to make an impact for these kids. And I'm like, you know what? If I don't know about these, I wonder how many other parents don't know. And I've met people that are like, we just don't travel. It's too hard. So I want to be that resource that says, hey, look, I know what you're dealing with because I'm a parent dealing with the exact same things or very, very similar things. I know that it's a pain to travel and there's a lot of extra steps that you have to take or consider before you're going to travel. Guess what? I'll take care of that for you. And that there's someone in their corner saying, hey, we've got this problem. How can you help? Because being a caregiver to any individual that has extra challenges, it really wears on you. And you don't know what your day is going to be like. You don't even know what the next second's going to be like. And so you have to really just read the room, see what's happening and pivot and do that. And you don't know if you're going to wake up to a grumpy kid. You don't know what you're like, what's going to set them off. Is it something completely different? Is it because something else happened? Like, you just don't know what's going to set something off that's going to maybe derail the whole thing. And so as a travel agent, I want to make sure that those families, especially those that have sensory or have those extra cares that they need, even PTSD, because that is an anxiety. Like, you don't want to be around, you don't want to go to the Caribbean and be like, oh yeah, they um shoot the cannons at 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, right? You don't want to be around that. So I want them to be able to say, hey, look, everything that I can control, I have the support and know that we are in a good position so that everything that I can't control, I can then assess and take care of that. But everything that can be controlled is the environment that we want for our trip or our family or our whatever. So because we have so many variables that we already juggle, I want to take care of the ones that can be controlled so that way that's one less thing that they have to worry about or stress.
What a godsend. And to have that experience too, to know what kind of questions to ask. Because like your example there's a can of how would anybody know that unless how
Yeah.
you wouldn't even know to ask about something like that
Hmm.
unless you've already had that experience. And that's with your experience then with with all the different places and the different, oh my gosh, all of those pieces where you can pull it all together because you haven't just planned your one family trip that you took last year. You're planning all the time and all these different locations. So you've got that advantage over folks that are saying, "Hey, I want to travel, but I don't even know where to start," you know. So having a resource like you is amazing.
Well,
Oh,
and I also know that not everything looks the same, right? So not
right.
every hotel room is going to have, we have ADA, right? So there's some things, but if you have someone, if you're wanting to do research on, let's say, go to Alaska and you need wheelchair accessibility, do you know have you thought of, okay, if it's a tender, do you know that you have to have someone there with you to haul the wheelchair if you can't haul it yourself because the staff won't do it?
Ooh,
So,
that'd be a biggie.
yeah, so like, are you okay just staying on the ship? Or, what are some of those things? And I think very logical in that is, okay, how are you going to get from point A to point B? Do you need a wheelchair? Okay, maybe we need to talk about having a prearranged private driver that has a wheelchair accessible vehicle so we can get you from point A from B. You and I can order a Lyft or an Uber, but somebody that has mobility issues might not be able to. So
Right.
I think of the logics of how is this going to happen? How is point A to point B to point C? How is that all going to happen? And it's my responsibility if you so choose, my clients want me to make sure all the pieces fit together in that puzzle and that it is a beautiful memory that they will have for the rest of their life.
Oh, I love that. Well, and I see we've got Florence Lane joining us. And Florence, why don't you come on in and say hello? And do you have a question you want to add in here too?
Hi, good evening, good evening.
So good to hear you.
Um, and I might just come on camera also.
Excellent.
Okay, so um, it just brings to mind um, there's a scripture in the Bible, and it says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." I used to, and a lot of people among in my community, meaning, the darker skinned people, they say we don't like to read and that's why we don't know this and we don't know that. And in many cases, I have known that a lot of the knowledge has been hidden, directly hidden from us. I mean, purposely hidden. However, when I listen to Lori, is her name?
Mhm.
When I listen to her, I realized that knowledge is just, I mean, a lot of people don't know what they don't know. And this is not just like the darker complexion people or whatever. It isn't specific what I'm trying to say to any one people. Like we just don't know what we don't know. And in a way, we all perish for a lack of knowledge. It's like symbolic in a way, what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Um, but
Disability
I
is
think I
not,
think you get
disability affects everyone. It
I
does
think
not
you get
matter
what I'm
your
saying.
age, your gender, your color. You could be blue and it doesn't matter. It
Right.
affects
So
everyone.
yeah, and this lack of knowledge is something is it's just there. I mean, we all lack knowledge in some area and in sometimes in the most essential areas we lack the knowledge. So I just wanted to acknowledge that or to just put it out there.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it because then when you're looking at something like travel, where if you're a person who hasn't traveled much, you don't even have any place to know. How do you know where to start? How do you know what questions to ask? How do you make this a great experience instead of a stressful one? Because that you want good memories. You don't want to be walking away saying, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to travel anymore," because it was all these unknowns and all this stress that came with it. Having someone like Lori to be able to help smooth that path and ask the right questions for us makes a world of difference. So, and I do see Kurt is joining us as well. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him on in so he can share a bit with us as well. How you doing, Kurt? I see you got the Packer going on in the back. Gotta love that. Oh, gotta get that mute button. There
All
we
right,
go.
so yeah, it's a build up to a speaking event that we have in the morning. So we're doing it with somebody from the Bears region down there, in that
Uh-oh.
place down to the south,
So you're
So
stirring the pot.
that's it. That's it. So yeah, this gentleman's very concerned for my mental health and all the things. So people can't believe that he allows Packer fans in his meeting, but somehow I made it happen.
Wow. Well, you want to just briefly tell us a little bit more about that?
About being a Packer fan?
I meant about the speaking thing that you're referring to. I mean, everybody knows how awesome it is to be a Packer fan. I don't think that takes explanation.
Yeah, that's the world's team, isn't it? Right? So yeah, the event tomorrow is with polarizing networking. So I'm going to be speaking tomorrow on how we approach the business topics and referring to a meeting that I was in, a few years ago, where one of the people in the business meeting, a breakout room, as a disability ally or advocate, as a disability advocate, was pointing out to the group that people with disabilities are viewed as a liability. So that's one to noodle on. Like, what does that mean
Uh-huh.
to
I didn't
you?
like that.
Yeah, so that definitely is an area of growth, for our business networking circles. I basically experience, in my opinion, that about 1 in 4 business people are on the track that I've been learning about in terms of connecting into all of this, and about 3 out of 4 are a little bit more like I might say Sue and I used to be 20 years ago, where there is this very typical environment that just somehow doesn't tend to include professionals with disabilities as much. I just point out right out the gate, like here, even though we're here at the Disability Channel, where's the sign language interpreter? So I always feel that that's the first box to check to be aware of. We don't have a sign language interpreter. So what does that mean for all of our friends who are deaf out there? Does that mean TV is not meant for our deaf and hard of hearing community? We don't have a sign language interpreter. Something to think about. Where are we going to go from here?
But how many people that do not have this was something that I saw on LinkedIn was how many people that do not have a disability use accessibility services like an elevator. I don't know about you, but my kids are loud. And if I want to know what's going on, I have to put captions on. So I'm using, like, never would have done that, but I'm like, oh, I can't figure out what's going on. So I have captions on almost all the time. I think my kids even mess with them. But how many things do we use that are for accessibility, even if you don't have an access, like you don't have that need?
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, in the recent couple years, what this has done for me is, how other people have kind of fueled what Sue and I are doing. It brought me to where I ask people in networking meetings and in one-to-ones and all the things, what have you done today? What are you doing right now at Socially Served? And what will you be doing later on today with a professional with a disability? I really think that that's another one of these leading questions that if we really start to factor in what are we doing to be inclusive in the professional circles. I got to meet Uniquely You magazine today.
Hmm.
And so they're in several states. I think they're in Arizona, Lori. I'd have to look it up, but sounds familiar
Hmm.
that they might be down by you, but they're not in Wisconsin anyway. So we're going to work on that, bringing Uniquely You magazine to Wisconsin. What a concept that Wisconsinites help me out. There's about 5 million of you or whatever your population is these days. So yeah, all sorts of stuff there, but we're kind of talking about that magazine where their intention is to include people with disabilities in the production of that magazine and to feature people with disabilities with the magazine and to feature the parents and the caregivers and all of the things. So what a great advocacy piece, illustration piece. And so we here at the Disability Channel are pleased, proud, and privileged to be in discussion about what the future between our channel and Uniquely You magazine will end up being, but they're doing wonderful work. Um, so they're worth recognizing no matter where we go from here. It's a good conversation. So they say they're going to follow up with me and keep building up on today's conversation. I got a lot of wows. You would have sworn I had pyrotechnics and fireworks going on because they're going, wow, oh, wow.
So Uniquely You is not in Phoenix, but their parent company is. I know the parent company of Uniquely You.
Oh, there you
They,
go. Maybe that's, yeah.
but
I thought they
so
mentioned Arizona. So,
yeah, they have a magazine called Stroll, that
yeah.
they'll do for neighborhoods and stuff. So that is part of theirs, but we do not, I just looked, we do not have a Uniquely You in Phoenix.
Well, let's get it done, Clever Adventures. Let's
Are
do
you throwing
Arizona
me
and
into one more
Wisconsin.
thing? That one I'm gonna have to delegate to somebody else because I got enough things going on. I just became the PTA president for the autism charter school. So Santa and I are gonna do a fundraiser that for the PTA. So and families can just donate. We've got five. We've already got them scheduled. We've got 5 stories he's going to read to the school, and if they donate $1 a story, so 5, and how many we'll have to just see how many we get. But yeah, like I got lots of other things going on. I can't add. That is out of my realm, at least for this next year. I'm
Oh.
telling you no.
Uh, I'll just tell them you want the magazine and thank you for delivering it. So we'll see how soon you
There
That
we
can
go.
that we
deliver
can
it.
do. That we can do, but I am not spearheading that. No.
Okay.
Well, and
Well,
I had heard.
if you know people, Lori, that want to work on it with us, send them our way.
Yeah. I'll have to rack my brain.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had heard from Santa earlier that he was going to be working with the PTA. I didn't know it was with you. That is perfect. Santa Papa John is the best storyteller, and that can couple up with a PTA organization because I got to be secretary of our elementary school PTA for a bunch of years, so that I relate well to the adventures ahead you have there, and
Yes.
it is a lot of fun. It's
Yeah.
so worthwhile.
Yeah. Well, I was on the Little League board and some things happened, and unfortunately the Little League got disbanded and went to other leagues, which is how things go, right? But
Mhm.
I understand that, and it's kind of my way of doing things for other people. And you know what? I feel like I've got a lot to say and a lot of things that I want to change and I want to make an impact. And I think this is I'm kind of stable with my life a little bit, right? We're all crazy, but I just feel like this is a good time for me to say, okay, let's start rocking the boat because I want to see some things change and I'm not happy with everything. So we're going to be the squeaky wheel to see, just asking questions and see what that leads to and what the answers are and see how we can change to make things better. So I've got some big goals that I would like to see if we can do, but gotta start somewhere. So we're starting at day one.
Awesome. I love that. Oh, well, this has been an amazing conversation. I do want to make sure to pull around and how do people find you? Where do they go? How do they look you up?
So I do have a website. It is you got to have the letter L for Lori. So lcleveradventures.com. You can search at Clever Adventures on all social media. You can Google search, but I am out there. Clever Adventures podcast is out there on YouTube. But yeah, so we do have, so I am out there. Yep.
You know you're in the right place when you see this.
Yep. And if you want to watch any of the shows, you can go to show, and most of the episodes should be there. But if you click on any of the social links, it'll take you right to where everybody is. So
awesome. Oh, this is amazing.
yep.
Love it.
And we're gonna go weekly starting the second week of August instead of every other. We're gonna go weekly in August. So already got people signed up. So I'm excited to see how we impact the world.
Awesome. More adventures coming your way. Stay
Absolutely.
tuned for that. I love it. Oh my goodness. So any last thoughts you want to share with us before we close up?
I just want to make a note on the last soundbite. Be very careful being a travel agent and talking about impacts. Some people get frightened by that.
Not that kind of impact. Wow. Always a little edgy. Love you, Kurt. So anyway, I will go back to Lori with any final thoughts you want to share with us.
I think it's always good to know that you have support. And I think finding the resources and finding the support, just like what this channel is trying to do, is that you just got to know where to look. You got to know where to ask. You got to know what there is, and let's change the world, right? So I am just here for people to know that they have someone in their corner. If they don't have someone, if they do have someone, that is absolutely fantastic. And please make sure that you're sharing them with everyone else. But, you know, we all want to create new memories, and we all want to have those memories. And if I can help someone create a new memory that wouldn't have been able to, then I have done my job.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Again, this is Lori Cleverly with Clever Adventures joining us today. Thank you, Kurt, for your participation here. And remember to look him up tomorrow. There is the big, let's see, on June 18th, 2026. It all depends on when you're listening to this, but you can still get in on attending tomorrow. The event you can find on LinkedIn called Polarizing Networking. Again, Polarizing Networking. It is it's gonna be an adventure of its own. I'm excited to see how this goes. I've heard some niblets along the way so far. Oh, there it is. You got that in the background. How clever is that? Sorry, I'm gonna overuse your name for a little while here because it's just
You're fine. Hey, you heard that you get Kurt on a roll, and it's like he's gone like 5 or 6 times in one breath. And I'm like, how the heck do you come up with some of this?
Well, you know,
He just
he
runs
promised
with
me
it.
from day one, new material every day, and he does not fail to come through. Even
All
tonight,
right.
as I was bringing food, he was telling the crew that his sous chef was bringing the food over. I was like, "Wait, how long have I known you?" And that's the first time you made that comment. Wow.
30
Awesome.
years, right? You've been
30
married
years.
30
Yeah.
years.
Gotta love it. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for being here and for all the great things you're doing. Florence, thank you for joining us as well. So make sure to reach out to Lori with Clever Adventures. For all of us here with the Disability Channel Canada, this is Socially Served. And as